You're listening to Radio Long Island City, recorded at our studios near Hell Gate, 9 kilometers north of the Harbor Hill Moraine. And now, the Observatory. The Observatory, Tuesday the 17th of March, 2026. It is 86 days after the winter solstice. It is 3 days before the spring equinox. At our latitude, today we reach the equilux, when day and night are each exactly 12 hours. Today is St. Patrick's Day. Today is the 18th day of the American and Israeli war against Iran and Lebanon. The sun rises today at 7:04 a.m. Solar noon takes place today at 1:04 p.m. The sun sets today at 7:05 p.m., civil twilight ends at 7:32 p.m., and nautical twilight ends at 8:04 p.m. The length of daytime today is 2 minutes 43 seconds longer than yesterday. The moon is in its waning crescent phase and is just 2% full at midday. The moon rises today at 6:22 a.m., and it sets again at 5:46 p.m. The new moon will arrive tomorrow. These are the predicted tides today for Horn's Hook. In the wee hours, low tide, 3:33 a.m., 3 centimeters. In the morning, high tide, 9:50 a.m., 1 meter 46. In the afternoon, low tide, 3:57 p.m., minus 6 centimeters. At night, 10:15 p.m., 1 meter 52. In our shared realm of plants and animals, snowdrop flowers are in full bloom. There are masses of them in Socrates Sculpture Park. The crocuses continue to bloom, with more and more emerging each day. It is interesting to notice that the flowers close at night and in cloudy weather, opening again when the sun shines. Charles Darwin thought this was perhaps a response to protect them from cold temperatures, but most botanists believe it's a way to protect the pollen on their stamens from getting wet. Since they open so early, there aren't many pollinators about, but the queen bumblebees are emerging, and crocuses are an important food source as they prepare to raise this year's brood of bumblebees. Commemorations. Annals of Self-Help. On this day in 1833, the Phoenix Society was established in New York by Samuel Cornish, Theodore Wright, Peter Williams Jr., and Christopher Rush. It was a mutual aid society for black New Yorkers, dedicated to what they termed morals, literature, and the mechanical arts. They reached out to the black population of the city, providing practical aid, encouraging schooling, creating lending libraries, and providing a network for young men to obtain jobs in practical trades. They also opened 2 schools for black children. On this day in 1845, the baker Henry Jones of Bristol, England, received a patent for his invention of self-raising flour. The idea was simple: mix a leavening agent, such as baking powder, into the ground flour. He would receive an American patent in 1849. It became a huge success, and he was appointed purveyor of patent flour and biscuits to Queen Victoria. His invention won a gold medal in 1852. On this day in 1897, the first modern submarine was launched at the Crescent Shipyard in Elizabeth, New Jersey. It was the brainchild of an Irish immigrant, John Philip Holland. Exactly 1 year later, also on St. Patrick's Day, the submarine made its first trial in open water, departing the Raritan Dry Dock in Perth Amboy, and using Raritan Bay off Staten Island as its testing ground. The vessel had remarkable stability, even in rough seas that drove larger surface craft to take shelter. Holland's submarine would be bought by the United States Navy, the first submarine in the fleet. On this day in 1930, the construction of the Empire State Building began. Today we remember Bayard Rustin, born this day in 1912. He was one of the most important leaders of the Civil Rights Movement and was the principal organizer of the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. He was a strong advocate for nonviolence in the movement. However, since he was a gay man, much of his work was carried out with a low profile. It was only later, in the 1980s, toward the end of his life, that he was able to be open about his own life. He once reflected, I have seen periods of progress followed by reaction. I have seen the hopes and aspirations of Negroes rise during World War II, only to be smashed during the Eisenhower years. I am seeing the victories of the Kennedy and Johnson administrations destroyed by Richard Nixon. A thoughtful insight that reminds us that the struggle for equality and justice is always a long game. The 265th New York City St. Patrick's Day Parade begins at 11 a.m. at 5th Avenue and 44th Street. Happy St. Patrick's Day to all. Please drink responsibly. And that is the Observatory, Tuesday the 17th of March, 2026.